please consider supporting me on Patreon. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Mace, and I thought with the sixth episode airing tonight, I would do a review of the first 5 episodes of Rick and Morty season 7. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. I own all the first 5 seasons, a couple of them Steelbook, and I have the season 6 Steelbook on my Christmas list. And I'm going to go through each episode and pick out what I like and what didn't make sense to me, like one by one. So without further ado, here we go. Alright, so how Mr. Poopy got his poop back was a fun episode to start season 7. I was kind of worried that they'd change his voice. I didn't know if Justin Roiland did his voice or not, but he sounds pretty much the same. And it was a good payoff for all the after the credit scenes that featured Mr. Poopy Butt all these seasons. And I liked that they had Hugh Jackman in it too, and they all went to party instead of having an intervention for Mr. Poopy Butthole. I thought it was a little weird that they left Jerry out, especially since he's the one that called 911 when Beth shot him. And I thought the sort of meta joke of Hugh Jackman not wanting to focus on the Wolverine stuff was pretty cool, because that's obviously kind of how it is in real life. And kind of having Squanchy and Bird Person and Gearhead and the main cast in there partying with them was nice to see again. And we got to see that Bird Person finally rescued his daughter, but she still seems kind of brainwashed by the sort of galaxy space bugs that were in control of her. Overall, I think this was a fantastic episode to start the season, and it was one that had me really optimistic for the rest of it. So as far as the Jarek trap goes, I thought it was a really strange episode. We've already seen kind of the Rick and Jerry bonding episodes, and they've obviously gotten along really well outside of the home. And for them to sort of combine into one and become this creature that thinks they're above everyone else in the universe was a little bit strange at the end. And the fact that a rake got them to change back to each other, a rake that Jerry initially came in trying to find, and having Rick help him prove that the neighbor Gene had actually stolen it, as we'd seen Gene in the previous episode too as part of Mr. Poopy Butthole's party. And I thought the Morty scenes with the gangsters were pretty cool, and I thought it was nice that they worked in Summer and Beth too. They've kind of been left in the background in the rest of the season. But this was still a pretty good episode. I just thought it was strange that the way they went about it, and just kind of a really strange idea to combine Jerry and Rick into one, and they still didn't understand each other at the end of the show when they were back together in their own bodies. Okay, so Air Force Wong is obviously where the series stopped being kind of fun after this one. We got to see Susan Sarandon back as Rick's psychiatrist Wong, and we got to see the president back, and it was just kind of strange for them to develop a romantic relationship and then for her to break them up. And it was also nice to see Unity back and having her sort of worried about Rick chasing the original Rick that killed all the Beth and Dianas from the universes. Obviously Beth came back, but it was just really, really weird. And the fact that they all had to barf into each other's throats, and then the president took control of that and had them all follow him. And the ending credits scene with that guy who's got knives for hands and he ends up killing his audience members when he asks them questions. It was just bizarre. And that's about the best thing I can say about it, is that the whole thing was kind of bizarre, and it was sort of set up around this weird love triangle that never really did develop for Rick and the psychiatrist. But he did end up going back and being depressed about breaking up with Unity and drinking beers in the garage, which I thought was a nice ending to it. Okay, so my opinion on the spaghetti episode is where I might lose a lot of you. I really did not like this episode at all. I didn't really see the twist being as bad as it ended up being at the end when I was watching it. Otherwise, I don't know that I would have watched it all the way through, and I definitely probably won't ever watch it again. But basically, Rick and Morty have this special spaghetti that ends up being, the innards of people from another planet when they commit suicide. And then the whole episode ends up being ways of trying to get people to commit suicide and how it ruins the world that they live on, and how the entire galaxy gets obsessed with the spaghetti. And the ending euthanasia scene was a whole lot worse than the one that we saw in Soylent Green as People, which basically the entire episode is based on. And I thought it was really even kind of a worse choice to repeat that with an alien species as the end credits scene. But really, this felt as like it was an entirely different show. Like maybe they did this as just trying to, get an award or something. Because this really didn't feel like a Rick and Morty episode at all. It kind of almost felt like an animated sequence from an Al Gore type movie. It was just something that I really didn't enjoy and probably won't ever watch again unless it becomes a major part of a future storyline. And I think that maybe going forward they should kind of look and try to avoid episodes like these. I mean, the award-winning episode that they've got, the Pickle Rick episode, is amazing, every single piece of it, and it isn't negative at all. So I don't think they have to go that way to win awards, but I don't know, I just really pretty much hated this episode with a passion. Okay, so episode 5 with the return of Evil Morty was still kind of a pretty dark episode. You got to see that pretty much outside of the finite curve, everything is kind of like the Wild West. Everybody's out there killing each other, eating each other, trying to blow each other up. And he builds a base that has to have a security field that protects him from everything. And we see him trying to get energy crystals for that. And then we go back to Rick and Morty from the universe that we know. And Rick is still trying to kill his nemesis, the original Rick from Morty's universe, and he's just teleporting in these Ricks and just automatically killing them, and it just ends up that they're all a bunch of duplicates from the original Rick. And Evil Morty comes in and even makes fun of him for doing that. And we see that this is a team-up episode between Rick, Morty, and then Evil Morty, and they eventually come to this, sort of shifting box style base inside of the Rick Nemesis hideout, where it kind of reminded me of the Star Wars Clone Wars episode where Obi-Wan kind of has to impersonate a bounty hunter to get inside this gang to prevent a bombing. And I thought that this part was kind of neat. It at least reminded me a lot of what makes Rick and Morty so special, is having these other Ricks there that, some of them might be enemies, some of them might be friends, some of them don't have those bionic upgrades and everything, so they're weak, and some of them just will attack on sight. I really was kind of bummed by the end of it. I mean, coming so soon that he gets rid of his nemesis, and then it plays that really sad song, but it also was pretty dark too, with how he just kept punching and punching into his nemesis. Even after he was dead, he just smashed him down to his, almost to his molecules. And that was like super dark, but probably one of the darkest fight scenes that I've seen in the series. And it sort of makes me wonder what the direction for the series is going to be going forward. I mean, I know they had that little bit of memory of Rick that got stuck in Jerry's mind. And I think maybe that he could end up being bitter, and then when he finally escapes, he becomes Rick's new nemesis. That'd be nice. That's why I didn't mention that earlier, is because I wanted to bring that up here. But going forward, I just have no idea where the series is going to go now that he's gone. But maybe they'll try to go after Evil Morty again. I don't know. And it would be really nice if we could see Beth and Summer actually get some decent screen time and a good story. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to distance themselves from the Beth's loving each other episode from season 6 or not, but I don't know. it would just be nice if they did more than talked in one scene. So overall, I think Rick and Morty Season 7 has been pretty great, just besides the spaghetti episode. And it seems like they really wanted the Rick actor to try to, be different at the beginning, then just settled into more of the natural Rick voice to show the changing of the voice actors. At least that's my theory on it. And the Morty voice actor has done an amazing job too. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see where the rest of the season goes. And I've specifically avoided seeing the episode titles just because I don't want it to get spoiled. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you on my next review.